we have any marks or nothing? Looks good? Okay, we'll start. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
So we remain standing and remember our armed forces, the men and women that are in now and those that have been. With Memorial Day coming up especially. We remember Stephen Storms. And as I look around the room, there's probably only one possible person that might remember this person who was the wife of Dan Bonebrake. Richard, you remember Dan Bonebrake? He was our chief of police here many decades. His wife passed away this past week, 104.
Wow.
God bless you.
So we remember Florence and Steve Storms. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, so I do remember this
But what's interesting is you remember the chief, and you were a child. Is everything okay with the camera? It is? Okay. We're still working out kinks, but maybe we have it. Okay. Where to put my phone?
You're good, dude.
No, it's okay. It's okay. All right. We welcome our councilman, Richard Perry, here. Any public comment? Any comment on the agenda items? Discussion on the wall behind Town Hall. It's a FEMA project. For tonight, I want you to know that we've gotten $22,000, this was a while ago, $22,000 was received from FEMA for the wall, again, behind Town Hall parking lot. We have an estimate, I think you have an estimate in your packet, or I know we do downstairs, of 54. So I say discussion before we approve it to be done. If you get a chance, we go down and look at it. We can go with Johnny Jones, you can go by yourself. And in the meanwhile, the clerk's office and myself will try to reach out to FEMA of a cost estimate increase against what they have authorized us to have. And then we can discuss it further, I think. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep. Yes.
Brian and Charlie?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. We have under new business minutes, we had a special meeting on, was everyone here for all three meetings?
No.
Which one, Jimmy?
The May 16th, I believe it was, myself and Mr. Livesey weren't able to make it.
Okay. So could I have approval from the board in full for the special meeting on May 7th, 2018, and we had another meeting on the same day. We had a regular meeting after our special meeting on May 7th, 2018.
I make a motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey. Is there a
Second.
second by trustee Gramus? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then we had a special meeting that we need to approve the minutes before you on the 16th of May, 2018. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Murphy. May I have roll call?
Aye.
No.
Abstain.
Okay. No, that's right.
Abstain.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. You have before you a resignation of Christina Stradley, full-time account clerk, effective the 16th of May, 2018. May I have a motion to accept her resignation?
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Livesey, second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, we have an appointment of Barbara Mellon to fill that position on a temporary basis as a full-time account clerk at $20 an hour, effective the 17th of May, 2018, pending the appointment from the Civil Service Certified Eligible List.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by trustee
Second.
Howard, seconded by trustee Murphy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the resignation of a part-time police officer, Joseph Mancurio, effective the 9th of May, 2018.
Motion to accept.
Motion by trustee Murphy, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next before you, you have a resolution to re-levy unpaid sewer bills for June and December of 2017 onto the 2018 June property tax. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls has 223 delinquent sewer accounts in the amount of $99,353.49 remaining unpaid, including late fees and charges from June and December of 2017 sewer billing. Therefore, be it resolved that no further payments will be accepted after the 11th of May, 2018, and any and all unpaid sewer accounts from the year 2017 be re-levied onto the 2018-2019 village taxes. The adoption of the foregoing resolution was moved by trustee and seconded by trustee and duly put to a roll call vote, which resulted as follows. May I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion by trustee Murphy, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Livesey. May I have roll call?
Trustee Allen.
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next you have before you is to allow the mayor to sign a municipal advisory service agreement with Munistat Services. This is for the wastewater treatment plant project we have coming up, and it's part of the project application for grants and low interest. May I have a motion to be allowed to sign?
I make that motion.
Motion by trustee Ramus, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, I'd like authorization to sign a consent to extend the time for the audit of gross receipts tax from Broadview View Network. This is to June 30th of this year. You remember a couple of months ago I brought this up. This is an outfit, Morewood Oak, that is looking at all of our utility receipts to see if we're getting the right deductions and the right incentives being used and anything that we're entitled to. They're looking at all of our bills. They just need a little bit more time, so I'd like to extend it to June 30th. If we get something, fine. If we don't owe them anything.
I'll make a motion on that.
Motion by trustee Livesey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Ramus, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You have a proposal for a survey for the north end sidewalks. That's from Thayer Gate down south. We walked it the other day with the engineer. We looked at where we're going to put trees. But we need a survey done, and we've asked the engineer to, he got us one, but we wanted more than one. And so we have two here. You have one before you for $2,400. And the other one I think is more, it's a lot more. Where is it? $8,500. So we have one for $8,500, one for $2,400. So I'm glad we did that, and if we approve the low bidder, we'll save some money.
I like the low bidder's number. did he provide any information about if we need something above and beyond the basic? Is he,
It was, I believe, Charlie, I believe that both were done for basic
so,
surveying.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, we can't beat the price.
no,
Much needed in the village of Howland Falls, for sure.
yeah. Charlie, a motion to accept Gary R. Rich, licensed land surveyor,
Yes.
Pine Bush, New York.
Second.
Motion by trustee Murphy, second by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a proposal for locating and pumping out the septic tank at the water plant. The water plant has obviously has a septic tank, and like all septic tanks, it needs to be relieved, if you will. It's, we have a quote from TAM, we have a quote, we have 3 quotes, let's see what they are. Scope of work. So, TAM is $9,290. Where's 10,000? Let's see, where's the name here? I don't see it. Pardon?
Right here.
As the 10, oh, okay, I'm looking on the first page. Okay, Spignoli is 10,000,
9,000.
is 9,000,
808.
Plus 1,500.
What's that, Gina?
Plus 1,500, the other little paragraph in there.
I see the 9,071, I see 737. You see it?
No.
Gina, we're not seeing,
You have to
yes, we do.
it says, additional 15
Oh, I see it there. Okay, right here.
advisors.
Okay, so that's a total of,
10,570.
yeah. And then we have one for 3,000.
He did not, Kevin said he did not bid for actually
The risers that,
emptying out the tank, also it's just like locating it. Tank actually emptied out as well.
Oh, wait a minute. We have a septic tank. This guy gives us a price to find it, and what about the other ones?
That's why I think they're a little higher. They're also,
All right, well, the one for 3,000 is to find it,
yeah.
not to do any more. So he's,
will he do more?
You don't have to ask Kevin to got this.
Because what would his price be if he did more?
I'm surprised he gave us a price like that.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, listen, go ahead.
Just so you all know, I mean, Hydrovac, WCC, they're gonna locate it, they're gonna excavate, and they'll put the riser on, but they're not pumping the tank. So, with that being said, the other ones are gonna locate and pump the tank, but they're not including a riser in there, which we should find out what the riser is gonna cost before we make a decision, in my opinion.
I agree. Put it
So
on
can we
hold.
table this?
Yes,
till
this will
we
be
have-
tabled.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, we'll table it, but I will tell you that it needs to get done, and so we probably won't wait till, for 2 weeks to go by, or maybe it's even 3 weeks, but I'll tell you what we can do. We have a special meeting to pay bills next week, and so we'll take it up then,
You find out from Kevin.
okay? Is that all right with everyone?
But Kevin's gonna do the research on that, right?
Yes.
Right.
Merv, would you take care of this
Yep.
with Kevin? Okay. So it's tabled. Next, before you have chemical bids for fiscal year 2018, 2019. The Water Department recommends the following chemical suppliers for chemicals for water and wastewater treatment plant fiscal year 18-19. He puts down, what he has here is, I have it downstairs, I had everyone's quote for different chemicals, but what he gave us is the low bid on each particular chemical. So you have that before you. So you'll see, this is what we do, this is typical every year. We end up dealing with 2 or 3 chemical suppliers. So you have their Slack, you see the different ones that you have, Jones. These are the low bidders on each particular chemical, which is normal. So I would ask you to make a motion that we go with all the low bidders, and on the back you have more. There he does it in a different format, he goes across the top. The back is what's important. Some didn't bid on particular chemicals, others did. You'll see Slack bid on soda ash, 0.284 a pound, and coin was 0.3177 per pound. So you have the low bidders there. Jones didn't bid on several of
Any
them.
of those, yeah.
Yeah. So I would ask for a motion for the low bidders.
And you've got it.
Okay, Charlie? Motion by Trustee Murphy, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Ramus, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, we have an 8th grade picnic at Roe Park on Monday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Proper documentation is here with insurance for us to approve. We notify the Highway Department, I believe, and Police Department.
Are we invited?
Sure. I'm sure we are. Motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by Trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, property maintenance hearings. One at a time. Is there anyone, I'll open the property maintenance hearing for 72 Mountain Avenue. Is there anyone here, owner or representing 72 Mountain Avenue? 72 Mountain Avenue, looks like the person in control lives in Jacksonville, Florida. Overgrowth is being observed. If there's no one here, I'll close the public hearing on 72 Mountain Avenue. And you have a resolution on the back. How we'll take care of it. They've been given due notice for a public hearing. It was held today, May 21, 2018 at 7 p.m. The violations are in place. They were properly notified. Public hearing was held. The owner did not show up. They have not taken steps to correct the violations. The Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village to undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. Yes, we will pay, probably, most likely, but we will get it back from the property owner, even if it's by putting it onto their taxes. It just will take a while. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Murphy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there anyone here? We'll close that public hearing and open up the next one. 128 Mountain Avenue. 128, anyone here representing 128 Mountain Avenue? Again, it's overgrowth of the yard around the property. Notices were sent.
This is, didn't we have this last year?
Yes.
This one here?
This was this is a repeater. Person's dying. Okay, so they were duly notified during the public hearing. There's no one here. Now therefore be resolved that the village, its contractors or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the violation, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charges shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days of the notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey, is there a second?
I'll second it, but is this the second violation?
Yes.
Then it goes up. That's what we agreed upon. Second violation goes
Do
up.
do we have it, go ahead.
What happens here is if it's consistent, you can assess fines and penalties, but that needs to go to justice court.
And if it goes to justice court, have we determined whether or not the fines and fees come to us or the town?
If it's village property, they come to the village.
Elise, let me ask you something. Different things have happened since we spoke about having a meeting about codes, legitimate, and we're still going to do that the month of June. I say all that because of this. If we choose to change the fine within our codes on a scale going up, can we do that under the proper guise of changing the codes?
You already have a graduated scale. The issue is that in order to have that person fined and/or put in jail, you have to take them to justice court.
That's the only way.
Yes, so what's happening here is you have these low-level sort of maintenance, cut your grass, which typically most villages just do and then levy onto the property. Otherwise, you're going to go through a process that might take a month or two. And you may get more money, but meanwhile, the property sits there. So typically, the fines and penalties are more for violations like junked cars that don't get removed, or zoning or other property maintenance violations, like the building looks terrible, the yard is a mess. And so you can either go in and clean it up and levy it, or if it's a repeat offender, you may at some point decide enough's enough, we're going to levy the fines, are going to get higher and higher, and then the building department takes them to justice court. And the judge then finds them guilty or not guilty. If they find them guilty and they're convicted, then the fines can be, it's a per day, and they can get really heavy, significant amount of money.
Okay, so if I'm correct, I would recommend to the board that we keep it as is tonight on this piece of property. And when we sit down to talk about codes and adding or subtracting or fixing them up and making them more enforceable, see, it's the enforcement. Maybe we can increase our fine of what we have now.
You can also levy, in addition to the cost of doing it,
Yeah,
the actual cost, you can also assess the fines, those get levied.
But the grass is extremely tall. I was there this morning, or yesterday morning I was there. It's extremely tall. I mean,
See-
it's not gonna be mowed down. It's gonna have to look like a tractor.
yeah, and see, the course of action now would allow that to get higher until the judge says, I don't know what the judge would say.
I think there's probably a way to do both, however, to have it taken care of and levy the cost onto the
Right.
property, but also to take them to court after continuous, if this happens all the time. Okay, so when we sit down and go over the code, that's, I think, one thing we should discuss. Maybe not only doing the work and levying the cost, but also assessing fines and going to justice
So
court.
doing the work and levying the fines, we can increase.
Yes, you can.
And then what we never talk about here, we did one time, we touched on it, but the work that is done downstairs for a whole year, if they don't pay, is astronomical. You wouldn't believe it. You could cut the guy's yard many times compared to all the time it takes downstairs for them to track it, right, Gina? You have to track it. You have to follow it. It's too much, and it takes a. 1 second, I'm going to give it to you. It takes a lot of your time. It takes a lot of the office staff's time, a lot. So there should be a fee on that.
Can't we legitimately add the cost of administration to the cost of maintaining the property?
That should be covered by your fines and penalties.
But
In other
that means
words,
going to justice court
yes, it does, yeah.
To increase her time, pay,
to get paid in
salary,
court.
not
Yeah,
salary.
I mean, that's,
the fine.
you know, that is included in, it's very difficult, and I'm not even sure, they have to look into it, whether you can assess an administrative fee.
Okay.
You can assess attorney's fees if you have to go to court, right? But to try and figure out how much time on each individual case it takes to track, it's much easier just to have your penalties. In other words, the penalties should also include some fixed amount for overhead. And so, yes, you would go to justice court for that. But these repeat offenders, these are the ones that you likely do want to take them to justice court.
Listen, I don't want to belabor this. Taking it to justice court, I understand, is an option we have. We have that option.
Your
But-
building inspector
but-
does, yes,
Yeah.
and so does the
Okay,
board.
so now you got to get the building inspector involved, for which we don't have a good track record. Number two, when Brian talks about grass this high, he actually means that. Now, by the time you get the building inspector involved, now by the time you get the justice court involved, here's the grass. And that's what we don't want. I understand we might have to follow that, but when we sit down to do codes, we have to talk about maybe
We
something
gotta talk
else.
about just writing out a violation, giving it to
Yeah.
them, and then that's it, because this just makes you yawn anymore. I mean, this is just unbelievable.
Don't
Well,
you?
we are
I mean,
gonna
really.
have that meeting,
Yeah.
and we might wanna look at a two-pronged approach, which includes not only doing the work and assessing, but in addition to that, and not in lieu of that, you know, assessing or violating for fines and penalties.
Are some of these even paying their taxes?
Yes.
They are?
And if they don't, that too, the county makes us whole on taxes.
Okay.
That's the good news.
So can we see what was actually taken out from last year?
To go back.
So we could see that? Maybe we could have that together at the meeting?
Are you talking about this address or all?
Well, common addresses, how does that sound?
Repeat offenders?
Yeah, can we at least see what was,
We could take a little bit just to go back and do.
yeah, from last year, and then we could start saying, okay, so now we're going into a new season here, we could take those repeat offenders and say, well, here we go again, and then we could start really,
Sure.
It might be a useful report for your building inspector.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Who
Isn't
is-
it easier for the building inspector, because he knows he has already issued a violation?
Yeah,
To
I
say,
mean,
all
he
right,
just-
this is the second violation for the same,
You should have it.
It's like
You
a
already should.
spreadsheet.
You already should have it.
for him,
You already
correct?
should have it.
I know.
He issued
I don't,
it.
I don't know, but that's what it would be
He's
like.
got files on each of these.
Well, he should have this.
Right.
Yeah, he has it, so it may just be that the village board requests a report, like every month, you know, these are the ones I violated this month, this is the third violation in the past 12 months for these things. So you can talk, again, we can talk to the building inspector about producing that type of report for the board, so that at some point, maybe we look at the code that says on the sixth violation or the third violation within so many months, the next step is you will go to justice court.
And this is probably way too simple, but on this front page, it says notice of violation. Could he put notice of second violation in, right here on this front page? 3rd, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you could.
Okay, so maybe we'll discuss that with them, I guess.
All right, so let's finish this one here for 128 Mountain Avenue. And we'll go, for tonight, we'll go off the resolution that I read for this particular violation, all right? May I have a motion? We already have a motion, Livesey and Howard. Okay, may I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, let me see that for a second. No, this is 72. Okay, the last motion, we'll close the public hearing and we'll open up the new one here for 128 Mountain Avenue. Or is it 117?
117, yeah.
117 Center Street.
That's okay, that's okay.
117 Center Street, again, overgrowth.
Is this house boarded up? Is this one of the boarded up homes or no? No?
But they said they're gonna work on it when I went down there today. I guess, I had a meeting with Kim.
Okay.
I said, people are complaining on that street. It doesn't look right. They have a right to quality of life. What are we gonna do? And they're gonna take care of that, she said.
Okay, so you have, is there anyone here from 117, owner or representative? If not, I'll read the following. Now therefore be it resolved that the village, its contractors or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the violations and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days. Notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey and seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
I threw my voice.
Okay, Charlie, I want to give you two more. If you drive over Lake Street, we have number 20 and number 14. There's two.
And 14?
14. The sad part is there's a house that's immaculate, sitting right in the middle of these two. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's embarrassing. Now, I'm not embarrassed, but I would think the property owners would be embarrassed when the village board is talking about their property. It's a shame. It's a shame. So if you would give those to the building inspector, please. Next, we have bills and claims for fiscal year 17-18 of $36,819.07. May I have those approved to be paid?
I make a motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second? Second. Second by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, few things, then I'll go to the board and then I'll go to the public. I want to thank the board, would like to thank the Highway Department, or DPW, for continuing to assist in the village beautification projects all around the village. They're getting really ready now for graduation, and we appreciate it very much. All the work they have done for the military banners, and still a lot of work to do. It takes a long time. We thank them for their efforts. Grove Park Pool, is coming along.
Yep.
The electrical inspection has been done. The county will come over soon and inspect after we get the pool ready. You've been talking to Kevin about that, I guess?
Yep.
It's all moving, right?
Let's move
We
along.
gotta have it on time.
We'll be swimming.
Okay. I'll be
No
meeting,
diving.
I'll be meeting South Main Street down by the funeral home this week with the county folks that will hopefully award us a grant to do the sidewalks down there. As we move forward there, the money from the last community development block grant will be in soon to start the sidewalk over at Lady Cliff on West Point Highway. The award for the storm drain over on West Point Highway will be awarded soon, and that nonsense will be out, off the road over there. The Holland Falls Marina, I was contacted today. I'll have further news on that. The Restore New York grant for $500,000 to remove paint is moving forward. Discussion will be held. Mearns Avenue, Oak Avenue. What I always say is the Sue Kelly money, our congresswoman back then, is moving forward in our favor. But we still are going to need to talk about Mearns Avenue. It's very bad up there, and there's always a question of need and when the money will get here. And those folks up on Mearns Avenue have suffered enough, have put up with enough, have endured enough, and I'm surprised they're not here at the meeting. But I can tell you, if any of them are watching, that it won't be long. I would like the, Brian, if you could talk to John, and if you and John Jones could recommend to the village board, maybe in a month, streets to be paved.
Got it.
And I actually wasn't going to bring this up, but it's on my mind, so I'm going to. Last week, a cat was hit. And South Main Street. So we'll chalk it up as an accident, but the cat obviously didn't survive. Now that cat probably most likely belonged to someone. And so I had the cat picked up. And I doubt the person who owned that cat is watching. But I can tell the community, if it ever happens, I'll do the same as I did this time. And I had the cat picked up and I disposed of it properly. So I have a letter here, it doesn't need to be read, but it's from a company, Homeland Towers. And I've asked the board, and I'm pleased with the response that I immediately did get back from the board, which is yes, move forward to investigate having a cell tower in this community. It's long overdue. And that's all I'll say tonight. So we're going to investigate a cell tower on village property. So let's talk about the storm. This morning, as we always do after a storm and before a storm, this administration, as my administration before, whenever there's a blizzard coming, floods coming, heavy rains coming, winds coming, whatever type of storm is coming, we have a pre-meeting, always at least 24 hours, if not 48 hours before, and we have a post-meeting, which is as important as the pre-meeting. And so I'm very happy to report to this community, along with the board, that you should be very, very proud of your emergency services, from your ambulance corps to your fire department, to your highway department, to the water department, to the wastewater department, and even what comes into play is the village staff downstairs. This morning we had our post meeting, and this village board praised each department, as it should have. Very bad storm. Certain areas of the village, obviously, you can tell, received much more damage than others. Our water department, no problems with the water department, no problems with the water, no problems with the equipment at the water plant or the distribution center. The wastewater treatment plant, and this isn't always the way it is with these heavy rains. But again, we're getting better and better at anticipating what might happen and therefore dodging where we can. And the wastewater treatment plant with the infiltration of the water also fared well. Nothing went down. We didn't skip a beat. No equipment was broke down. So the wastewater treatment plant operated as it should. So I thank Trustee Ramus for that. I thank Trustee Livesey for that. The Highway Department, which had the most work, which usually does in these type of storms, and their personnel were superb in the way they took care of the residents of this community. It's all about taking care of the residents of this community. Make no mistake about it. I saw Brian out in a truck. I saw Charlie out in a truck. I saw my two friends on each side of me out in a truck. And of course I was. So we just don't, we're out there with them. Now, we're not working, but we're just making sure they see our support. That's important. We want them to know they have our support. And that's what they received for a couple of days. There were in our post meeting, yes, there were some things that we could have done better. Only a couple, and actually one of them is on my shoulders. And so it's down. And where I'm going with this is, I think that 9W. I think that the road coming into town where the tree fell by Hogan's, I think we should have blocked the road off down on 9W and sent everyone up to Stony Lonesome. Because you had buses, you had tractor trailers, you had trucks coming in and then having to turn around or go through Saddle Grove. I think we could have handled that better. So as we do pre, we do post and everything, you know, we digest everything that was done and we'll do better the next time. But it's all for the residents. Everything was for the residents, as should be. There might be a couple pieces of equipment that we want to look at, like a chipper. Now, the town has a chipper, and yes, we can borrow their chipper, but we can only borrow, obviously, when they're not using it. And Richard, they're very good to us with the chipper, but on a storm like this, they need the chipper. Everyone needed a chipper. So that might be something we might want to look. We called up, I had called up a few days ago during the storm, and you couldn't rent a chipper till June 1. Well, that's not going to work. Our generators went down. We started to make preparations on where we're going to get fuel because it runs by electric down at the highway department. So we might want to look at a generator for there. Many years ago, I was able with the village board to get generators for the fire department, for the water department, for the wastewater treatment plant, and here. And they work. The lights go out, the lights come on here. I think now might be time to look at the highway department. So there are a couple of issues that we have to look at, but all in all, it was very good. That morning of the storm, I declared an emergency at 10 o'clock in the morning through this document. I'm glad that I did. One of the reasons I wanted to was hoping that Orange County, if it had gotten hit hard enough, that the governor would declare the county of Orange a disaster, and possibly funds would come down this way for any broken equipment, overtime, fuel, all of that stuff. And that's exactly what happened. And so we are filling out an assessment review form. Each department had received one this morning. I gave them a couple of days to get it back. And then hopefully if the numbers are high enough here and every other community in Orange County, the governor will send aid down and we can participate in our share. I would like the community to know also, in speaking with the county today, that There is possibly aid, again, if the numbers are large enough for physical harm that was done to anyone. Now, I haven't heard that. I don't know if anyone else has, if anyone got hurt during the storm, but there's a form you can fill out. These will be downstairs in the clerk's office. You can stop down and pick one up. It's just one-sided. If you were hurt. And then there's one for damage to your property, which I know there was damage to property, other than village property. So please, stop down to Village Hall, pick up a form, you fill it out, bring it back to us, we'll take care of it. And if the requests from us and all other communities, Newburgh, Washingtonville, Cornwall, anyone else that had damage to private property, if it adds up to enough, aid will come. So don't miss the opportunity. You may have homeowners insurance. You may have homeowners insurance that doesn't carry it all, cover you all. So please stop down to Village Hall, and these will be there for you just to pick up, and the best thing would be is to bring it back. Brian?
Yeah, there was a couple things. The fire department had 13 calls, so we want to thank the volunteers for going out. The police helped people on Main Street and the side roads. DPW did a fine job. I mean, they were stopping when we were together, and they were asking people, "Are you okay? Give me a call. Do you have anything going on? Just call us. We'll be there for you." Now, someone said to me, "Why do you compliment people? That's their job." I must add that, first, it's called civility. Secondly, they went above board. It wasn't just, let's get this place cleaned up and let's go home. It was, are you okay? I'm sorry about the house. Everybody knew each other, and it was a nice thing to do. So that's why you thank people. Okay, is this our comments, all our comments? Are we at that section now? All the comments? The board comment? Is that where we are, on the board comment?
Oh, you can do, you can.
Okay. The center, we opened up for the vets on Saturday, and it was great. We had Colonel Hanson from up here. The Chamber of Commerce came down. We did the banners, 70. Cat was there, Barbara Minetti, Jim Modlin, DPW, Tom Sosha? I didn't say Tom's last name. What is it? Osha. I was close. So it was nice. And then from 12 to 1, we opened up and we had lunch for the vets. So it was really great. And everybody was greatly impressed with Colonel Hanson, his speech about two communities coming together to make one. This community at West Point, there's a community in the village, and now we're joining together. So that was good. People should know that a lot of people made salads. That was greatly appreciated. Many of the people who work in the village will be going to training tomorrow at the senior center on hazardous waste, hazardous materials, violence in the workplace, and things of that nature. So we do go and we do get trained. One of the things I'd like to talk about, I want to also thank those who came out for the vote on the school budget. The weather wasn't great, but people came out. This is called a concentric zone. If you throw a rock into a pond, you get a little circle, and then the larger circle surround that. The little circle is the village. The larger circle are our residents and organizations, whether they be volunteer, whether it be Chamber of Commerce, whether it be vets, whatever the organization is, we do work together. Do we have differences? Absolutely. We have differences up here. No doubt about it.
No, we can.
So you might look at something, but you might have some different ideas on it. It would be nice if we could start realizing that we don't have to snipe at each other. We don't have to go after each other. That concentric zone means that the village is in the center of our thoughts, and we need to work together. Some of the issues that come up, how can I put this, are petty. Some of these issues that come up, it's like, well, you know, we don't like what you're doing. We understand that. Then have a dialogue. Let's talk about it. Our main goal is to resolve the issues. We need to really start looking at that. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. You got infrastructure, you've got these storms coming in, we've got all kinds of projects going on, we've got beautification, you got the 4th coming up, we've got holidays. Let's start working together. If you have a problem, then please contact us. Let's have a civil conversation and rational discourse, and we can all work together. And that's the only comments I have.
Well, the only couple things I got to talk about is echo on Brian and Joe about. I drove through the village on Saturday, and I couldn't believe how many residents, these organizations that are getting together in beautification and the village with the flowers and down in Fort Montgomery. And it's really special to see these banners that are put up. I mean, that's a great honor, and to see my Uncle Richie's banner out in front of my folks' restaurant. I know to my father, being his brother, that means a lot to my father seeing that banner sitting out there. My uncle, he was in the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, he was killed in a car crash, but it's really special to see that for our family. And I think that was a terrific idea to put out there for the whole community. And just short on a couple things, for the community-wise, you know, I know the mayor would probably absolutely agree with this, you know, and for the board, when we look out here, we could sort of guess and name who's going to be at the board meeting tonight, because it's the same folks. And when you go to the village or the town's board meeting, it's the same folks, and I'm sure for the school, they could say it's the same folks. But for the people of the community, you know, especially those that are sometimes putting comments on Facebook or about what's going on in the community, this is the place to be. This is the place to voice your opinion and open up and let us know and let everybody else know, the community, of how you're feeling about what's happening. I know there's a lot of talk about Main Street, what improvements should be taken, and what to bring to people coming down, and what's going to make the stores open. You know, I know the mayor would say, you know, his door is always open. You know, everybody's door is open for these comments to come inside, and I don't know where they're at. I wish there was. I can remember a couple months ago there was a young woman in here that was her first time at a meeting, and she was having a ball at it, and I think we all remember that. And she was just going on and on and on, and well, that was it. So I wish she would come back again. The other thing I want to mention is up at Roe Park, the geese are back. Yes, they are. The geese are back for the summer. They're out of school. And the playground up there, I guess we're going to have to talk to John about hosing that down and doing all of that. But just so the residents know, there's not much we could do. But it's, you know, please again voice out, you know, of how it is, because I was up there the other day and I noticed that it's getting pretty tough. I spoke about an educational path that I want to put around a pond. I'm going to be there next weekend with the gentleman that put these things together. We're going to find out different locations to put them. This is really a good thing for the kids. I really think that they're going to enjoy that. Another thing about the children of the community, I know I keep harping on this, but I'm going to say it again and again and again. I spoke with the sergeant from the Village of Howland Falls Police Department, and I was really, you know, when you hear about how many arrests and how many tickets are put out, it's really amazing of how many they've been doing right now in the village. They've been stopping cars, they've been doing what they should be doing. A lot of times, you know, I cringe every time I see these kids riding these bikes on these back roads. You just can't be there all the time. And for myself, I've actually went down the road and I knocked on this dad's door and I said to him, listen, you know, we all love the children out there, but they can't go down past this sign here. You know, they just can't do it. And you know, the cars fly by in certain areas. And you know, it's just, I guess it's just up to the residents just to point out if there's a common car that you see doing this, please report it to the police station and let them know that, hey, you know what? There's this red car that keeps going past our home and he's always flying around or whatever. And let the police take care of this, because I get very nervous along with a lot of other people when they see this, when these kids got these big smiles on these bicycles, and they are nowhere thinking about these cars flying around. And like I say, if you see these cars and it's a common car, let the police department know. And lastly, I'd just like to say this, because we do have West Point graduation coming up. And I would like to make a gentleman's bet with the mayor here. And what my bet is that I'm betting now, the entrance coming in here, they're gonna take care of these potholes before Saturday, the DOT. Now, they're gonna have to go all the way down there, past the hacienda, and come all the way up in the back here and fix them potholes. Now, would you like to make a gentleman's bet with me on that, or?
Merv, if, it wouldn't be fair
Okay.
for me to take that bet, because I think it was the last meeting I scolded West Point, which I have no problem doing. I'll do it again tonight. That West Point Highway, which is really called Blake's Highway, all the way down to Nicole's.
It's got other names right now.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
Backside of the moon.
Is a state road, and they have a lot of pull. They could pick up the phone and have it done. So this morning at the meeting, I called the garrison commander on speaker with some trustees. Brian was in the room. Charlie was in the room. And I actually can't say what I don't think he realized.
No, he had to get back to us. He had to ask someone. He said, I asked someone to make some phone calls to DOT.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
So tomorrow's
Find the person.
Tuesday, there's
Right.
not many days left before graduation. I mean, our bets would be the same as where I'm going with this. I
Okay.
think they're gonna get done, but I'll tell you what, I am a little worried
Okay,
right now.
okay.
That it's not gonna get done. It's a disgrace.
Okay, and
It's a disgrace.
the last thing I have to say is that, speaking to someone tonight, there's the 50th anniversary of the 4th of July coming up. And for those at home and everybody sitting here, you know, donations make an organization move. And I can tell you right now that the 4th of July needs donations. I mean, this is going to be the 50th anniversary for the village to have this parade. I know there's some hard people working. I know the mayor's on this committee. And it's something very special this year, but it takes donations. So if you haven't donated, please donate and continue this on as we should be for celebrating our 4th. And that's it.
And so Merv, I appreciate you bringing up the 50th anniversary of this community's 4th of July, not
Right.
Joe D'Onofrio's 50th year.
Well, you know.
Okay.
How many years?
I have 28 of chairing it, but this is our
28 years.
50th, okay? And it doesn't look good. I want the public to know this. It doesn't look good at this point to pull off an anniversary of the 4th of July this year. Last year, there was 2 folks that did it, myself and someone else. This year, we have 4. Years past, we would have 24. I guess people move away, people get older, and people get tired, and people find other interests, and there's a lot going on. But I hear so much about the banners. I hear so much about Art Walk. I hear so much about everything, rightfully so. But this is the signature event of this community. It's not anything less than that. It's the signature event. It's when people don't go away till after the 4th. It's when people who have moved away, the young people who now have become young adults and their own kids, come back. And the town, the village swells. And here we are, 4 weeks,
In a few days.
and the money is not there. I'm not sure if the community knows, I think a lot do, but I don't think all do, that this is not sponsored by local government. The village government doesn't put this on, even though I'm there. The town government does not put this on. It's all donations that we try to raise within 8 weeks before the 4th of July. Sometimes someone on the committee will say, well, don't you think it's time we should mail out donation letters? And it's like March. or even April. And I go, no, because if people get that letter, they're gonna put it over here. There is no one thinking about the 4th of July but the committee. I'm not sure if anyone now is thinking about the 4th of July, it's a month away. So, it may be scaled back, it may not. At this point, as of today, yes. But we need to just step up and give a little. If everyone just gave a little, we could do it, just a little. But it would take everyone giving a little. So please, let's do 50 years of this. And then we decide as a community next year if we want to do 51. Charlie, I want to say to you, I'll talk to you afterwards, but I had someone come to me today here and complain. I don't know the code because I didn't have time to look up the code book, but someone has 5 ducks in a box. And I'm not sure if that's allowed. In a house.
In a house? They're house
In an
ducks?
apartment. They're house ducks and in a box. Now, I was going to give it to Brian, but I've been giving him a lot lately, so I'm going to give you the ducks.
Okay.
So, we'll talk afterwards, I'll tell you where they're at, but it's causing a little situation with the other neighbor
Well,
in this apartment house.
I've heard of urban chickens, heaven knows we've been through that, but urban ducks in an apartment?
Yeah, they got 5 in a box.
Generally speaking, the harboring of fowl requires buy-in from all of your neighbors. So if the neighbors are complaining,
Yeah. It
there's,
could be overcrowdedness too.
5 ducks in a box, they may have to find a new home.
Well, we don't necessarily have a humane society, so then the lady said, well, can I call the animal control? Well, there's a difference here. In this town, you have an animal control officer, but she just does dogs. She doesn't do other animals.
Yeah,
So
that'd be.
we have a little
considered
situation,
wildlife.
that's another town issue. It should be called a dog control officer, not an animal control officer. I want to talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
On that, I'll give you what you have to say.
fun with that,
Segueing
Charlie.
back into geese,
Kind of like
we
these.
do have money in this grant, I think $700 for geese deterrent technology.
As long as it does that, not coral.
Not what? Had meeting, the emergency planning and post
Thank you.
work. And also, forgive me if I missed it, but one of the key benefits that I heard this morning was that our DPW wants to help the residents and will pick up branches 4 feet in length, not more than about 3 inches in diameter. They cannot pick up logs, but I think that substantial pickup will help a lot of people.
So, I'm sorry, Charlie, let me just say that again. It's very important that the residents, and thank you for saying that. I told the highway department, the village board agrees with it, that we will pick up brush, branches, those of size no larger than 3 inches, and no longer, we'd like them to be at least, if not shorter than 4 feet. Trunks, all of that, no. But we decided early on this morning that we're here to help the residents and that will take place on a time basis. You put it on your sidewalk, it will get picked up.
Okay. Another thing, over the weekend, we talk about community policing. A police car actually came down my driveway, and it was very reassuring to know that they're out there.
They are, they're really,
for people. Now, Merv, the
Charlie.
Old Guard Motel.
oh boy, here we go.
Don't upset me.
You had to boil my water, that was just.
Merv's behaving so good tonight.
Is Greg Laux of Iron Sword, is he the GC or clerk of the works? He seems to be the guy who's doing all the legwork. They are finalizing the demolition plan This week with,
I'm glad you said legwork and not groundwork, because there's no groundwork.
well, they have to address the ACM removal, the asbestos contaminated material. That plan will go to the building department by the end of this week, and at that juncture, they can put it out to bid, because it will be expensive and it will probably be another 3 weeks at least before they have that bid in.
Charlie, just so you know too, so everybody else knows, I have some information here about that from our engineer, and it's so noted that the demolition of the existing structures on that site are not going to require the restoration guarantee on the site improvements in section 13 of our site, of our developer's agreement. So that's a plus for them.
That's definitely-
And that's going to help move that forward.
Phase 1 survey has been given to the building department and our engineer, which I think you're addressing there. Once they have the contractor to do the remedial work on the asbestos, that will only take a matter of days. The building removal, he estimates, will take 1 week. They will put in clean fill in the hole that is created. He went into some description about what they have to do to secure the basement to keep it safe. I didn't completely follow what he was saying. But he also volunteered something that I know Trustee Ramus is very familiar with. They're ready to go to bidding for the off-site work. They could do that right away. But they are hoping to use the same same crew for both projects. So they may hold off on doing anything along those lines beforehand. Also, he mentioned a firm that will, in likelihood, be the third-party inspection agency, and I'm familiar with this firm. If that does end up being the inspector, that's a really good one. And then another thing that I have, I want to say that it's good news, but I'll be cautiously optimistic. The developers have secured their bank financing. The downside of that is they're still gathering the information for the owner equity share. So it's moving ahead, and it's...
Well, Shelley, I appreciate, respect all that you just said there, but you know, for myself, and I really do, I appreciate that was some good stuff that you just put out there. But for as long as that's been sitting there like that, I would have probably expected that they would know already a little bit of this, as I did. But they should have already, maybe this should have been done already 6 months ago. And they should be into the phase of the building part now. But so, you know, the thing is we're going to be going into June.
I'm sorry, do you want to speak? You have to go?
I do have to.
Give me 1 minute and I'll put you on.
So,
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
What would you say, Charlie, maybe a month from now, the building? The old building?
Well,
I know you can't commit.
it depends how quickly, okay, by the end of this week, they get material to the building department. The building department has to review it and issue a permit or say, okay, go ahead. The bidding process could take up to 3 weeks.
All right. Charlie, I'm going to put you on hold for 1 second, and I apologize,
Oh, that's
but I don't
okay.
want
I'm
anyone to
done.
leave if they have something to say.
Should talk to those people that were involved in the thing last week.
I'm sorry. I get so many, and I do. Tell me. What is it? Just give me something. Oh, listen. Yeah.
Did you talk to the police?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely. And I called you back. I know I called.
The angrier I got.
No, and I called you back a couple times because I got new information and I actually had wrong information. And that was a private contractor who should have never done what he did, which was he blocked the road. We don't mind,
And then I was concerned that
yes.
that's a whole issue to take up with the police were.
I took care of that. No, and believe me, I did. Believe me, I did.
I don't want to.
You were given the wrong,
I don't want to ever call again and they say,
you won't. You were given the wrong answer, you weren't given the right answer, and you weren't even given the wrong answer, it wasn't given to you the way it should
because I
have.
take pride in their.
Sure you do. You've always praised them. And because we praise the departments tonight, and rightfully so, does not mean that there aren't hiccups along the way that aren't addressed. Believe me, believe me, believe me, there are. And I think you know that from me. If I tell you something, that's what it is.
You're right on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, hon. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I think I'm
No,
done.
please. Huh?
I'm done. I really am.
For sure?
Yes,
I apologize.
that's okay.
I wanted to get her comment. I didn't know what it was. Go ahead.
All right, so just want to give a quick update on the April wastewater treatment facility issues that they addressed. We did an average volume of 954,000 gallons in that month. The precipitation was 7 inches. That's a lot of rain, everybody. Facility met all the DEC speed permit limitations, which is a great thing. Pellwood and Webb Lane pump stations, they check them regularly. They're in great operating order. The belt press was only in operation for 4 days, but we are working on getting that fixed. We have the departments working together. So the water department was there working with not only the water department, but the wastewater treatment plant was also working with the DPW crews for 4 days. It's great to see that happening. Also, there was ongoing, and it's a never-ending thing. It's like painting a bridge. You start at one end, and you get to the end, and you got to start again. So they are continuously painting the building and doing upgrades to the interior along with the exterior down at the sewer treatment plant. They do, lubrication of the pumps, motors, machinery is required. Right now, the crew is working, 8 o'clock. The crew is working on a sewer leak as we speak. They're not home eating dinner. They're not home watching American Idol. They're out working for us. So that's something that Mr. Alward touched on and we all should know about. The electric vehicle charging station. DPW is at work about almost 2 weeks ago. They dug the initial hole. They placed all of the underground electric wires. There's a few more hookups that they need to do on that. And then the company will come down and place the rest of the station on top. And we as a board need to discuss what we're going to charge for that. Hopefully at our next meeting, please.
Would you come with some suggestions?
Absolutely, and I believe our attorney spoke about some of the other municipalities where she has seen some things that we may be able to use as a template, correct? Plus, we're gonna need to put a sign up, so we have to figure out what kind of sign we're gonna put up in that location. And just so everybody knows, that's where the old kiosk is. It's down near the 3-tier fountain. Where you go into the visitor center. So hopefully that'll attract some of the people that come up to not only go to the museum, but to park in our municipal lot and cross over Main Street. And I'm gonna try to get some information and possibly a kiosk set up near there, so when they get out to charge, they could see what's going on in our village, what restaurants we have, and other things that are going on. The art walk, maybe we have a little map of that and the different things and the different artists. So I think that would be a plus. Last meeting, we discussed about problem wildlife. I sent Mary Jane some information about that. I don't know if she got it into the Town of Highlands newspaper yet, but It's summertime. The animals are coming out of hibernation. So, and I've had a few of the residents come up and ask me about not only skunks under their porch, but woodchucks digging up their gardens. There is information out there on the Department of Environmental Conservation's website on how you can avoid and prevent and control these wildlife conflicts. If anybody wants more information on how to get there, just shoot me an email. My email is on the village website, and I can help you peruse through that. Or you can always call your local NCON officer, and that's 1-844-DEC NCON, ECOS, and they'll guide you in whatever they can do to help you out.
Jimmy, what's the last four? What's the last four numbers?
It's letters. They go
what?
by ECOS.
ECOS.
I just planted 25 tomato plants, so you keep them woodchucks down by your house, okay?
They don't like my house. I don't know.
Because you have a big deer in the yard that's
You were talking about the skunk. A skunk was walking down the sidewalk last night right out here.
really.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, just casual.
Not the first time there's been a
Yeah.
skunk walking in front of Village Hall. Believe me.
He's checking out Main Street.
So anyway, the NCON officers can help you out with that. And as the mayor noted, we do have animal control in the village, but generally they don't deal with that. If it looks rabid though, you can call up our local police department, 4911, and they will come up and assess it. And if it is rabid, they do have the ability to, unfortunately, dispatch that, or actually, fortunately, to dispatch a rabid animal. They won't just shoot any animal. Again, from our last meeting, there's some sewage pollution issues that are out there. We're working on getting that plant rehabilitated. It's been in commission for well past its useful time. Yes, it does take money, but Albany's out there, and they have been sending me, the comptroller's been sending me warnings on this pollution issue with sewage, and we're ahead of that curve. We're trying to fix it before it becomes an issue. Not only in this administration, in the previous administration, and then the one before that, that sewage treatment plant is exemplary in what they do down there as far as getting no fines and things like that. We know along the river, which is a jewel, that's a star in our cap. So yes, it's going to cost us money, but it's for not only us, our children, but our children's children.
But just to credit something too, also the town sewage treatment plant has an ACE record too, and that's good for both of the village and the town.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Hudson River Net, they have a program out there. They work on the shorelines, wetlands, forest, streams, grasslands, etc. I spoke briefly about that with the mayor. The program provides technical assistance, training, and grant funding to help communities along the Hudson River. So we're looking into, with our grant writer, Mr. Budd, along with our engineer, about possibly going up the Highland Brook any further in trying to prevent any erosion and seeing what we can do on that.
Yeah, we're working on this. I'll talk about Barbara Benetti in a second, but we're working on a couple of these right now. We're working with Greenway, DEC. Yeah, that's all good stuff.
There are some consolidated funding application grant workshops out there. Again, I gave the mayor this information, and our engineer also has it. It's about water quality improvement, and obviously we have a consolidated effort with the town because we provide them water. So that's one check in our plus column.
Big check.
And we're continuing to see what kind of money we can get, not only for those workshops, but any infrastructure projects. There's an issue with, people have been asking me about, what do I do with my batteries? So, you have rechargeable batteries. They're helping to make the world a better place, but what do you do with them when they're gone? Just so everybody knows, it's illegal to dispose of these rechargeable batteries in the trash. So you can take them back to any place that sells them or buys them, or you can go to the New York State Rechargeable Battery website and find some information on there on where you can actually drop these off. But the next thing is, everybody uses batteries that aren't rechargeable also. Yes, you can throw those in the garbage as a homeowner, but there are places that will take them. So if you can find that place and get them out of our landfill, again, it's great for the environment. There are special programs out there. I believe the county has some. We just have to check in with them on that. We have coming up on June 9th is the National Get Outdoors Day. We have at the Wildlife Interpretation at the Bear Mountain Zoo, right in our backyard, folks. They're going to have trailside exhibits, and they are going to show what they do with some of the injured animals that they take in down there, or orphaned animals, and that will be on June 9th. You can go on, you can give them a call down there, or you can go on the DEC website, or you can get in touch with me. If you feel like getting out a little further, one starts at 10 o'clock, and this is at Indian Hill, and it's a hike that's in the Sterling State Forest. Again, I've had a lot of people inquire about getting out and what to do with kids. This is a great thing to do. The rangers out there will take you on a loop hike, and it's literally just getting down to the bottom of Route 6 and going left for about 5 minutes near the old Apple Rest, and it's right there. And if you even want to go further, Minnewaska will be having theirs on June 9th, and that starts at 9:30, and that goes till 3 o'clock.
Jimmy, I'm looking at the old Apple Rest. I can remember my grandparents taking me and my sister out there. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that place was fully operational, and we used to go out there, and geez, that was pretty cool as a kid growing up.
Absolutely. It was a staple, that's for sure. And then one last thing. I know I touched on it, and I got from the DEC, we have little flyers that we're going to give out. Now, we give out, starting next month, the keys for Bog Meadow for the anglers. This is going to be attached in your packet that you get. I got a whole stack of them, and it talks about how to prevent invasive species, and it's just a matter of cleaning your boat before you get into that water up there. That is our drinking water, and I think it's something that, you know, we should all be concerned about, but we should all be able to go up there and enjoy. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
You're really into this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. All set?
Yes.
Anything from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Martha Allward, Island Falls, broken record. As Colonel Hanson said at the Veterans Banner ceremony, we're 2 communities, we should be one. Consolidation, again, doesn't get mentioned. Number 2, Brian, thank you for mentioning civility, because with civility, we would get so much more done. We're a small community. If you don't know your neighbor, you see them, you know of them. We don't have to backstab, we don't have to slam people silently on Facebook. Let's just work together. Trustee Livesey, thank you for mentioning the kids on the bike on Church Street. We go down to Cousins. I see kids every day, either on skateboards or bikes, no helmets, the middle of the road. When you come up up Cousins to get onto Church, you don't see, and something's going to happen. These kids don't have helmets. I've stopped kids. I know the police had a program with helmets. I don't want to see somebody squished out there for a stupid reason. and I'm sorry you're having a foul problem. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, yes, I get it. This is just of interest. And maybe you can see this and maybe you can't, but you can see the handwriting, which denotes this is from a long time ago. I don't know if you can see it. So these are minutes. Don't take this any way except they're minutes, meaning accurate, true minutes. In the Village of Highland Falls on September the 17th, 1908. Resolved, this was at a village board meeting, that such a proposition that they talked about up above, which was to dissolve the Village of Highland Falls, proposition be submitted to the residents of the Village of Highland Falls. A special election will be held at the Village of Highland Falls on the 28th day of September in 1908 between the hours of 12 of noon. It's interesting how they write 12 of noon and 4 in the afternoon. So I guess maybe it was noon to 4 on that day, meaning the 28th of September, 1908. The vote was 163 to keep the village and 124 voted against. So it's only of interest. That's the only reason I bring it up. No, nothing other than that. No. Mr. DeSalvo.
Couple things.
At the microphone, sir. And first of all, congratulations on your election and your running mate, and do good things on the school board. And we would like, Mrs. Howard and I especially would like the taxes to go down by millions, not up by millions.
I
just thought I'd say that since I had your ear.
haven't even gotten sworn in yet, so let's just ease into it, all
You're
right?
gonna get sworn in, all right.
Number one, I'll have a email that I'll be sending the mayor tomorrow. I had a great conversation with Harry Poor, who's the Chief Operations Director for the county, in regards to the OCTC money for Mearns Avenue, Oak Avenue. We were notified probably maybe a month ago that some of those monies were going to be moved to 19 and delayed. We have one or two things we have to do, and we can get the worst portion of Mearns maybe taken care of. It looks like that's very positive. I was with him later this afternoon, which is why I was late.
Jim, thank you so much for that, because I almost lost it when that letter came, and it wasn't good.
No problem.
And it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with those folks that live on Mearns Avenue.
So I appreciate being able to work on that for the board.
Thank you.
And number two, as a resident of the Village of Highland Falls, just wanted to thank the Rotary, we were set to do flags this Saturday. We got rained out, but I think we have a rain date do we have a date yet?
I thought they were going to do it in the rain, but.
Yeah, it got postponed. We're trying to get it done before, hopefully, graduation, but...
You know what, Jim? I'm so glad you brought that up, because I didn't think of that. Charlie Bearfield, many of you remember, did it. And he had the map of who got one, literally here.
Yeah.
And then when he passed away, we had no map. And then I remember taking it over and volunteers, Rotary, and we would go around looking for those stones that said something about a veteran, so we knew a flag went there. Now the Rotary, thank God, spearheads it all. But I will tell you, I heard about this on Saturday. It was stormy, but I went over on Sunday to check my parents. Some stones don't have any mention of military, but yet they were military, like my pop, like my grandfather, and they all had flags. Many had flags, so they might have done it.
Stella Bailey was very instrumental. Stella, in conjunction with people at West Point and Dave Monroe from Rotary, have compiled lists, and then Jerry Sheehan has been the driving force in recent years, and went out and put these small, like, they're plexiglass tubes in, and they're almost flush with the ground to enable the mowers to cut the the lawn.
And we do
And it
all.
marks who's
Yeah, and it's
identified.
important, we do all 3 cemeteries. And if you have a loved one in Highland Union, if you have a loved one in Eagle Valley, if you have a loved one in Peacedale, and they didn't get a flag, just call. And several do every year, and eventually we'll get it. But several do, and they just think it's the world to make sure that there's a flag on that grave.
And we put them out, and they're only out for a few weeks. And
Yeah.
we have to collect them again, and
Yeah.
then we put them out for Veterans Day.
And lastly, we, both myself, when I was a legislator and the bank, we sponsored 2 years in a row helmets for kids, and we did it at the library. Brian, you were there for 1 year, our trustee Howard. I think the police department has quite a few helmets left. So if you have a child, they were for free, so there's no cost to the child, and I believe,
Recommended it.
yeah, and I believe
Oh, okay, you have
there's an
to,
officer there to help them put it on, so.
Okay, that's good.
Thanks.
Jimmy, and everyone, you reminded me with the Rotary and the flags on the cemetery. That's what the love of this community is about. I'm sure others do it. I don't know. I don't even care. I care about us. But we do so much that's not maybe even seen. That's not even seen. I don't know. I wish someday it could be put up somewhere so folks could know what the unsung, those are the unsung heroes. You know, I remember tramping through those cemeteries after a rain and your sneakers are wet and whatever. It's good stuff. It's good stuff all year round, even in the winter. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion by... Second. I don't know who said it.
Trustee Elbert.
Second.
Okay.
Trustee Howard, second by Trustee Murphy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Let's go for Dancing with the Stars. It's the finals.
Is that camera off?